is Jaques Sassin, and I am going to be your host today on Radio Works World. Now, I'm phoning from Hillcrest, Durban, and I've got a story to share with you. And I'm just going to kick off and tell you how my life has changed with the business opportunity / cryptocurrency that I've got involved in. Now, I'm already a successful business person outside of what I'm going to be sharing today with you. And what these businesses have done for me through my life, and I mean, I started working when I left school, in fact, when I was in school, in the restaurant trade. And slowly but surely, I've built up various businesses, property portfolios, trust administration, paper manufacturing companies, heat pump and water reticulation companies. And all these businesses keep me very, very busy. So what was happening about a year ago, post or pre-April 2016, is that I was flying up and down to Joburg to go and manage some of these businesses. Now, I was the CEO of the company, and I had to control and manage a whole lot of people. And if I wasn't there, shaking my can, making sure that things were happening the way they were supposed to be happening, the company wouldn't perform. And this kept me away from home. I used to sleep 3 or 4 nights a week there. And the connection with my wife and the connection with my children was really picking up strain. And I didn't want that lifestyle. I was making good money, but life's not just about making money. So I decided to start looking at different avenues. But it was just an idea that I wanted to start looking at different avenues. I had a very big business portfolio that I was looking after already. So it's a little bit of a weird story, because what happened is what you put out there seems to come to you and you attract it. So my wife had a very dear friend whose father had passed away, and they invited us to come and help clean the pool and fix the pool. Now, I'm not a pool guy, but I said, yeah, my wife said my husband can fix the pool, and I pitched up at a house. I'd never really met this individual. She's a lovely, dear person. And it was a tough time for her because her dad had passed away. So not only did I end up having a braai there the day, but to cut a long story short, a month later, when it was the school holiday, she invited us again to come and meet her at Belito at the tidal pools. And she said that she had a friend of hers that was going to be meeting up there too. And would we feel comfortable going to someone else's house and just having a little bit of a chat with other people? And I said, no problem. You know, we are good friends already. My wife has known her for 20 plus years. So we ended up going to Belito. Our 6-year-old loves playing in the sea and the rock pools. So it was a good way to get out on a Sunday. And this is where I walked on the beach to this tidal pool, and somebody walked past me and said, "Hi, Jaques." And I nearly fell over backwards. I said, "Well, who are you?" He says, "I'm Andrew." And then he left. And after playing 2 hours at the tidal pool, we ended up back at this beach house, which is literally 50 meters away from the beach. And Andrew Eaton is the name of the person who introduced me to this business. He brought this particular company to South Africa in 2011. And he started inquiring what it is that I do. And I told him what I do and how busy I am, and that I'm making good money, but I'm not particularly enjoying my lifestyle. And he says, "Funny that you mention that, because must I tell you what I do?" And he went and told me that he prints his own money. And I said, "Oh, man, are you trying to be facetious? I mean, what do you mean you're printing your own money?" He says he's his own reserve bank. He decides when he wants to print or when he wants to take money and buy more equipment. And literally he flashed a Visa credit debit card in my face and said, "This card only holds Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin in this card comes from equipment that mines it." Man, when I was listening to this, I had no idea what he was talking about. This was April last year, mid-April last year. I didn't even know what Bitcoin was. I'd never heard about it. And to me, that was rather bizarre, because Bitcoin's been around since 2008. The first Bitcoins were released into the blockchain in the Bitcoin community in 2009, January. So all this time, you've got this cryptocurrency that is the first money of the internet being released into the world so that peer-to-peer transactions decentralized, anyone can use it, that I'd never heard of. So I said, oh, you know what, we're here, pour me another glass of wine, let's have some potluck for lunch. And that was the end of the conversation. But something told me that I need to do a little bit of more due diligence. And I need to go and research a little bit more and go and find out exactly what is this disruptive technology that this man was talking about. And is this something that could change my lifestyle? Because he was explaining his lifestyle to me, which was living on the beach. Well, not that he lives on the beach, but that he could control his time. And he could spend time with his family, and he could drop his kids off at school, and he can go and gym in the morning, and he could do some personal development and read some books. And when he wanted to work, he'd work. Now, don't get me wrong. When we work in our business, we work. But when we decide to take time off, we decide to take time off. And I really enjoyed that. You know, I enjoyed the flexibility of deciding when I wanted to work, as opposed to when a boss tells me when I have to work, and that I have to work for a boss and he pays me a salary. Now, you know, in all the businesses that I own, I am the if you ask people, my lifestyle has changed, because what I find myself doing now is I get up in the morning, I make the breakfast for everyone, I make the school lunches for everyone, I send my wife and my children off to school. My wife is a teacher, by the way. She teaches out of inspiration, not desperation. And I then go and drop my 6-year-old off at Highbury, which is in Hillcrest, and then I go and gym. And while I'm gymming for 3/4 of an hour to an hour, I do personal development. And after I've done my personal development, listen to what other successful people are doing, I pick up those nuggets and I go and incorporate in my business. And I get home and I start journaling. And if I want to, I even maybe do a little bit of meditation. And all this is a lifestyle change. I decide what type of meetings I'm going to have the day and what tie I'll put on. Today I decide it's going to be jeans and a shirt. But sometimes if it's very hot in summer, I wear slops and shorts. If I'm meeting people that are very affluent and prominent business people, then I will dress appropriately and accordingly. But I get to choose. And that's the lifestyle that has changed. So let me talk a little bit about been doing this for a year. It's not just about me, but it's about the growth that I've experienced. It's about the journey that I've endured. Because I would never be able to do all the things I'm doing at the moment had I not met an Andrew Eaton on the beach a year ago. Had I not taken the time to do a due diligence where I got a couple of my close business colleagues and friends and family and said, let's go and unpack this thing called Bitcoin and blockchain technology. Let's go and see how real it is. Let's go and unpack this company called Lifestyle Galaxy and go and see how real they are. So I actually went and, you could say, not interviewed, but got on a Skype call with the founder and with our CEO and asked them numerous questions and intricate questions, because I'm quite analytical when it comes to that, to see how real this platform is. I was actually so adamant that I wanted, before I got involved in this business, that I wanted to actually go and see this so-called Bitcoin mine that we talk of. So I flew to the States and I actually went and visited our mine. Not only did I visit our mine, I got an opportunity to see one of the best professionals in the Bitcoin industry, keynote speakers at various different events throughout the world, who is the mining partner. Now, I'm under a non-disclosure agreement, so I can't tell you exactly who this is or exactly where it is. I can say it is in America, and it's of the largest mines in the world. And it was, to me, a complete eye-opener to see what this Bitcoin is, and that it can reward you, and you become part of this Bitcoin bank, which basically what it is, it's helping average people like you and me take some of your risk portfolio, some of your fiat currency like your rands, your dollars, your pounds. I mean, we're in 34 different countries. You take that and you put it on a Bitcoin exchange or a cryptocurrency exchange, and you exchange it to cryptocurrency. And when you get that cryptocurrency, you can then take some of that and go and buy mining equipment. Now, you might not understand, well, what is Jaques talking about? What is this mining equipment? Go and Google Bitcoin mining. Go and Google blockchain technology. You will see that there's so much due diligence and so much information out there But there's just as many people out there that try and make money off this type of technology. And you will find lots of scams, and you will find lots of Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. And that should make you nervous. It made me nervous in the beginning. So when I was going to research this with all my colleagues, I said, guys, go and pull the good and the bad. Because when you go and Google something, it's not a proper due diligence. When you physically go and set up meetings and speak to the people you're getting involved in and scrutinize those individuals, scrutinize the company, go and scrutinize the products, use the products, then you can get belief and understanding. And that's what I went and did. So now that I have belief, now that I have understanding, I'm actually using the power of cryptocurrency to create financial freedom for myself, but also to change my lifestyle. So my lifestyle has changed to a life where I do not suffer from time poverty, which is something that I used to really battle with in the past, where I can now spend more time with my family, but also spend time when I want to with my business. Now I've got all my other businesses. I've just really honed it down so that I have management running them, and I've hired people to look after the administration of my trusts, etc., etc., etc. And I sit at the moment spearheading the distribution of Lifestyle Galaxy in South Africa. Now, I'm just a normal, average old distributor in a network business, like many other people. I mean, I don't own shares in the company, but what I do is I do use the products, and I tell other people about the products. So why do you want to hear about the products? Well, let me tell you. If you are in South Africa and you've got money in the bank, what is happening to this money in the bank? Is it appreciating? No. It's suffering from what? Inflation. Now, cryptocurrency has got a disease called suffering from deflation. Deflation is the opposite of inflation. So what happens is you've got a commodity in South Africa. Remember, every country in the world can go and decide what they want to allocate Bitcoin as. So in South Africa and many of the other countries that we are distributing our product in, they've perceived Bitcoin to be an asset, and therefore it will fall subject to asset taxes. Now, I'm not a tax advisor. I'm also not a financial advisor. I don't work for a bank. I don't have that type of background. I've got a business background, and I'm not here to advise you what to do with your money. But what I do is that I use this that God gave me. And between these 2 ears, I go and do research, I go and read a lot, and I use common sense. And common sense tells me to be cautious of certain things, and then it tells you to maybe take a little bit of risk on the one side. So there is risk in Bitcoin. There is risk in cryptocurrencies. And I'm not here to try and say that there is absolutely no risk. But why do people still want to mine cryptocurrencies? Why do they still want to participate in this? Well, go and look at the history. Where have you got a commodity that worlds and governments are taking so seriously that, for argument's sake, the fourth largest economy in the world, which is Japan, have actually decided to take Bitcoin and make it their national currency? Now, why are they doing that? They went and researched. They could have gone and written their own blockchain and made their own, let's call it the Japan coin. And they could have used that, but they realized the technology and the research and the time and effort to make that would have cost them a lot more money, and then to go and market to the world and say, will the rest of the world use their cryptocurrency, as opposed to one that's already around. So this just shows how quickly governments are starting to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. So Japan has made it legal tender. In South Africa, it's perceived as an asset. An asset on the books in South Africa is then called illegal tender, not meaning that it's illegal, just meaning that it's an asset, like gold, like property. So Bitcoin is an asset. Why do you want some of this asset? Well, it started at about 10 cents in 2009, and today it's knocking over $2,500, $2,600. The professionals in the industry, not me, you can go and Google this, the professionals say in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see Bitcoin knocking on $10,000. They're talking about Bitcoin reaching figures of $500,000 to $1 million in the next 10 years. Now, I looked at this when I first saw it. I said, no way, this just doesn't make sense. This is just about impossible. It's bordering on ludicrous. So when I tested the waters and I bought my own equipment and got some Bitcoin, my goodness gracious, it's all happening. It's all real. I joined in April last year when Bitcoin was $425. we've had a 5-fold increase in a year. Now, I say we because I'm part of this Bitcoin community. I've got equipment that's verifying transactions on the blockchain. And as a pool mining together, we are getting rewarded with, and we say up to 5% a month. But if I go and show you historical figures, and I can literally show you on my dashboard, we've actually been going over 10%. But that's not what this is about. It's not about saying that on the Bitcoin side, we're going at 10%. And it's not about saying on the altcoin currency side, we're going, some of the altcoins are going between 20 and 40% per month. That just sounds like, if I put some of my rands into it, I can get those rands back if I'm risk averse very quickly, provided we're still going at the 40%. And that's why, because we're not financial advisors and I'm not here to give you advice, we don't even market at those ridiculously high figures, which are very real figures. We say up to 5%. Even 1% to me would be a good enough reward, because I can keep rands in my bank. I'm not even going to get 1% per month on that. I'm lucky if I get 67 in a fixed deposit. So just taking your own risk portfolio, a money that you're going to feel comfortable. I don't want to say lose. It's not about losing. It's about taking a certain amount of your risk portfolio and hedging it into cryptocurrency. And not only hedging into cryptocurrency where you hold the currency, long-term strategy, and then sell later. Because when you sell later, you're out of the Bitcoin world. You're out of the cryptocurrency world. When you're mining it, you are using the cryptocurrency that you went and got converted from rands to Bitcoin, bought equipment, and that equipment has got a strategy to grow on its own going forward. And that strategy to grow on its own going forward, where you're repurchasing more equipment, is also giving you the byproduct, which is Bitcoin. Go and Google it. Go and look at what all this technology is. And you might really want to go and find out, well, maybe I should look at doing some of this. Now, we have a network marketing company called Lifestyle Galaxy. If you are keen to just use the product, great. We call that strategy 1. Join our platform where you can buy wholesale mining contracts and go and mine cryptocurrency at up to 5% a month and set it and forget it. And the more you sleep, the more coins you print, and you carry on with your life. But if you are wanting to do strategy 2, which we call growing the mining community with us, those are the people that I'm looking for. I'm looking for some people that really want to drive this business hard with me, and not just locally here in South Africa. I'm talking about internationally. I am already an international Bitcoin speaker. I've flown to different countries where I lecture in front of hundreds, 200s of people, and I'm only getting started. My vision is to have tens of thousands of people. My vision is to be earning inside this network company up to $1 million a month. Now, that might sound to you like, what is Jaques talking about? The time and effort I put in traditional businesses, I can earn good money. But there's no such thing in those businesses as residual income. There's no such thing as a competition coming in and taking over what I've worked so hard for because they're more innovative than I am. So when you look at cryptocurrency, you say, well, hey, but you could sit with the same thing that a new cryptocurrency comes along and takes over Bitcoin. Great, we embrace that. Why? Because our company is also an innovative, technologically based company, and we're the forefront. We are leaders of the industry and leaders of this particular profession. So you can go and get these cryptocurrencies from our old currency, which mines various different cryptocurrencies. Look, there's about 840 different cryptocurrencies in the world already. There's enough that each country can have between 3 and 4 cryptocurrencies on their own. But certain of them are really outperforming the others, like the Bitcoin, like Ethereum, which is Bill Gates' backed coin. And various of the other ones that we as a company, and I say we, the people behind the scenes that really know what they're talking about cryptocurrency, they go and vet the coins. And if they find a coin that's got future sustainability, they go and afford our mining community the opportunity to mine those cryptocurrencies as well. So as you see cryptocurrencies evolve and new ones raising their head and maybe becoming the forefront and the future of cryptocurrency, we can mine them too. So you in a business and in a company where the professionals know what they're doing. They are making the decisions behind the scenes and making sure that all of us have great products. Now, I've got to tell you a little secret. This company was founded in 2008. It is debt-free. It is privately funded. The founder comes from a banking security software background. So he helped, if you've ever heard of second factor authentication. One of the key people behind it is the founder of our company, who helped the smaller banks in America adopt this technology to protect people's from being hacked, literally, on the normal banking worlds. So that's who I am. That's what I'm busy doing. And, you know, you can go onto my webpage, which is jaquessassin.com or jaquessassin.co.za. That's JACQUESSASSIN. And you can go and find out more about what I've done in my past. You can go and find out more about what I'm doing currently. And from there, you can go and book into various different events that I have. I mean, I present on Bitcoin every single week in my own residence in our community hall. I've got team members all over KZN, where every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even now on Saturdays, we have team members that are presenting who Lifestyle Galaxy is, what Bitcoin is, how you can get hold of Bitcoin. And we really hands-on help people hedge their risk portfolio into cryptocurrency. And not only do they hedge their risk portfolio to protect their money that is dissipating, I would say, for one in South Africa, for the likes of Zimbabwe, what has happened to their dollars, but you can also multiply your money, where there's strategies for it to grow the equipment itself, and strategies to print these coins until you are financially free. And that's basically what I'm doing. Over to you, Marina.
Wow, Jaques. You know, this is so exciting, especially now when it's happening a lot in a world where this brings a lot of confusion. So all the political movements, all the economic crashes, they are all absolutely all bringing that sense, that feeling that nothing is safe, nothing is going to last, and what's next? So
Look,
perhaps you know that at least in the UK, we are now in a process of becoming a cashless society. So you used to need cash to park your car or buy a, a, a ticket for the bus or for public transport, for the underground. Now when you go on the bus, you have to have a card. You can't use cash. They actually don't take cash. So it's almost like even the leisure aspects of your life, you don't have the freedom to use how you pay for. So you have to declare everything. And people are, when it comes to Bitcoin and the other kind of currency, similar currencies which are out there, people perhaps thinks maybe it's not an ethical choice. Maybe it's not for me to get involved because I don't understand. And of course, ignorance is a major factor in making decision or not making decision. And sometimes not making a decision is as worse as making a bad decision, because somebody is going to make the decision for you and might not be the right decision for you. So coming back to what you just explained, so one of the questions I received like 20 questions from our listeners, but one of them is let's pick one. Who uses Bitcoin?
Well, I mean, everybody uses Bitcoin that's in the Bitcoin world, but it's not just the people that are mining the Bitcoin. Because it's a peer-to-peer transaction, you don't need to be a Bitcoin miner. There's benefits in mining, but there are also benefits in just using the Bitcoin. So anyone can go to a local exchange in their own country, and they can convert their money in their country to cryptocurrency. And they can have that cryptocurrency get put in a digital wallet that they hold on their phone or their computer. And it's got value. And if you send that value from one person to another person, they get the Bitcoin. So you can buy anything with Bitcoin, which means anybody can use it. Now, why do you want to be using it? Is because there are speed of transactions, the fees, the costs of actually doing it are just about for free. And those are very real benefits. But also when you're holding the coin as well, before you decide what you want to go and buy, it is an appreciating asset. Now, it's got ups and downs, and there's all boom and bust cycles like any commodity. But if you look at the gradient is sideways and up. I mean, from 10 cents to knocking on $2,600 in a short space of time. Nothing else has performed this. I mean, there was a time when you could compare it to the parity of gold, but even that, it has surpassed gold. It's nearly double the value of gold. So it normally gets referred to as digital gold. You can't even refer to gold as anymore. It's got double the value. So anyone can use it. And if you're mining it, you are just the person that creates and makes the Bitcoin.
Well, if I get this correctly from what you just said, it is cheap, costs you next to nothing to enter a transaction using Bitcoin. Then the other aspect is that central governments can't take it away, and
correct.
There are no chargebacks.
Look, if I hop on that point you're making right now when you're talking about central governments.
Yeah, and then nobody could hack your account to steal your information from a merchant, or so it's safe. Yes,
it is safe if you go and make sure that the platforms that you're going to use are platforms that are recommended and been trialed and tested, because there are lots of different wallet addresses. You can go and Google and you'll find thousands and thousands of people that will open up wallet addresses. But do they have the proper security measures in place where they can guarantee that you won't be hacked? Do they have second factor authentications? If they don't, you're not 100% safe. Now, when you're mining with our platform, which is Lifestyle Galaxy, the security behind our platform is written by David Martin, our founder. And our founder comes from a security background. That is why he has created all his wealth, where he retired in 2006. So, he was reaching out to the world in 2008 saying, listen, he wants to try and help as many people as possible, because we all know what happened in 2008. The world went through a very, very big, difficult stage, and people needed that extra income. And they also needed to make sure that there was a haven that they could start putting their risk portfolio in, because fiat currencies and the world economies had dropped people. And, on that note of saying that it has dropped people, there isn't a government that can come along and ban Bitcoin. They've tried to do it in the past, but it doesn't belong to any government. And that's where this decentralization comes into place. As long as there are two computers anywhere in this world that can verify the transactions on the blockchain, Bitcoin will survive. As long as anyone, wherever they are in the world, can connect on the internet, they can log onto their wallet and they can transfer, as easy as sending an email, that Bitcoin or cryptocurrency anywhere in the world. And there isn't an institution out there or a building that you could have someone come and lock and seize and say, no, we're stopping you. Because it's completely open source code. It's open for public to go and see, and anyone can voluntarily put their computer online, download the blockchain technology, the open source codes, and start verifying the transactions that are happening on the ledger, on the public ledger. And when you do that, you then afford yourself the opportunity to start mining Bitcoin. However,
just 1 second, because we are running out of time, unfortunately, and you have to come back. But I have another interesting question here, and I'm trying to understand, because I'm an ignorant myself. So apparently there is no electronic cash system where it's not owned by somebody else. So the bank owns it and so on. But if you think of PayPal, and I think this is a good example to understand this question. You own it. This is the question. So I love PayPal myself, and I think it's far better than a traditional banking system. And even then, some people who misused and broke the rules or whatever happened there, PayPal could actually freeze all the assets in your account without asking you. So then you have to go to the hoops, and you have to clear that to be able to have it back. But apparently, if I understand this correctly from you, with Bitcoin, you own the private key, and it's no one who can take away from you, of course, unless you lose it or you go to with a wallet service that loses, the Bitcoin for you. So
Correct.
do you own it?
Well, look, there's two ways to look at that. Some people are lazy and they don't want to go through the you could say the hardship of getting your own open source key. So they use recommended servers that will go and do all that behind the scenes. They are reputable. They will give you your keys and stuff if you request them. But it's about research. It's about knowledge. It's about putting yourself out there and actually doing your own open source key, if that's how you would feel more comfortable and secure. But a lot of people are just using third parties so that they're doing all of that. Is that safe? Yes. When it comes to an institution like PayPal, they would still inevitably be able to block or freeze accounts if you were doing transactions that were dubious or that you shouldn't be doing. Whereas when you've got your own open source keys, there is no permission required, because you've got to ask yourself permission to do transactions. And you've actually taken the ownership and put it into your own pocket.
Okay. So the other question is, how can you print your own money? So let me explain this.
Okay.
This question is coming from a lady in Canada, and she says that okay, what she said. So I can buy Bitcoin on the open market, but I could also print my own.
Yes.
How that works? So apparently you have to have enough computing power.
Yeah,
but you explain it better, please.
Let me explain quickly. Firstly, if you go and Google, I want to start mining Bitcoin, you will find hundreds of thousands of people that will gladly take your money. But 95% of them, and I'm saying this out of opinion, 95% of them are scams. They just want to take your money. They're promising these wonderful rewards. And when you look again 2-3 months down the line, you don't even have equipment. So you need to make sure that you join a platform where there is real physical equipment, where you have a certificate of ownership, where you can go and visit the mine and actually go and see your own equipment. That is who we are as Lifestyle Galaxy. So we've gone and made a turnkey solution for people where we take crowd-funded money through the network business, and through as much as $500 mining contracts, you can start, and up to $10,000 mining contracts, where you physically go and buy a computer. Now, this computer that you go and buy, or the amount of money you put in, you get allocated a certain amount of processing speed. They call it gigahash when it comes to Bitcoin, megahash when it comes to GPU equipment. This is very technical, so don't worry about it right now. But literally, what you're doing is that voluntarily you are putting your computer to go and participate in blockchain technology. So what happens is that your computer becomes an extension of the Bitcoin bank. And what it's doing is it, alongside all the other computers in the world, are busy verifying the transactions. What are they actually verifying? They're verifying if I was to send Bitcoin from me to you, they're verifying that you're now the owner of that amount of Bitcoin. It could be 0.0001 Bitcoin, or it could be 1 Bitcoin, depending on how much Bitcoin I send you. When it records where every single Bitcoin is in every 10-minute block, then the computers that are busy verifying those transactions get the opportunity to try and win or get that Bitcoin that gets released in every 10 minutes. So that is what people don't understand, is that they don't realize that blockchain technology has got written in its programming the release of Bitcoin until the year 2140. So every 10 minutes, they release Bitcoin. It started in 2009, 50 Bitcoins. 4 years later, something called the halving, and it dropped down to 25 Bitcoin being released every 10 minutes. Currently, we're sitting with 12.5 Bitcoin that are being released every 10 minutes. And that'll be 12.5 Bitcoin until the next halving that is going to happen in June, July/2020. Then it's only going to be 6.25 Bitcoins. Now, when you have equipment that is verifying the transactions, those equipments are allowed to take part in this mathematical equation, which they call an algorithm that needs to be solved. The first computer in the whole world that hits that algorithm, and call it an alphanumerical long binary digit or code that has to get put on the computer, when it hits that, it gets rewarded the Bitcoin for that 10 minutes. Now, if you got your computer plugged in at home, you are competing against the rest of the world. I mean, Chinese have got football stadiums full of computer servers in warehouses. Our company has got of the largest mines in the world in America. So you've got to compete against those mines that are pool mining together. Everyone's brought their own money, bought equipment, and it's all pool mining together. When one of those computers or several of them hit blocks through the day, we take those Bitcoins, we pay our overheads and expenses, and then we split the spoils with everybody proportionate to how much equipment they have bought. So if I bought $10,000 and you've bought $1,000, I only get tenfold more than you. Not anymore because I'm, let's say, spearheading the distribution in South Africa. Everyone proportionally in our community gets what gigahash they've got. We also have the strategies to grow that gigahash. So there's a compulsory repurchase that we put in place where people want to join our community so that you're always buying new equipment and growing your mining capacity to stay ahead of that Bitcoin that gets more and more difficult to mine. Why does Bitcoin get more difficult to mine? Because more people are buying computers and trying to verify those transactions to be rewarded the Bitcoin. And people need to understand this. They need to understand that they need to partner with a company that has got strategies of growth. Not only do we network and do crowdfunding to put into our industrial mine to grow the 2 mines we got, we're busy building our 3rd, and soon the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. We are going to be one of the biggest on the hash pie, which is where there's different pools in the world, verifying transactions. And the bigger we are taking the cut, at the moment it's between 5 and 7% of the world's Bitcoin. Pretty soon it'll be maybe more than 20% of the world's Bitcoin. And that's our short-term strategy by 2020 our company wants to achieve. Our company wants to be a €1 billion company by the year 2020. And we're well on our way. We've got our CEO is Ken Bruff, and at the Realm, he's already helped 2 companies get to Fortune 500. We've got a formidable corporate team. So that technically answers your question, how this Bitcoin mining works, is that you've got to go and buy equipment and make sure that the equipment you've got is being managed by people that are real, by a company that is real, that you're not going to get scammed, and that it's got history, that they've partnered with the best professionals. This is who we are. We've got history of the rewards that we've been achieving since we've started mining. And those rewards speak for themselves. We're not here to come and say, guys, you can get 25% a month. We come here very humble and say up to 5% a month, which could be less than 5% a month. But have we hit less than 5% since I've been mining? Not once. Have we been getting much more than that? Yes, we have. We rather under promise and over deliver.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. You know, I have, how many questions I have? I think I have over 30 questions now, but I'm going to Jacques, some of the questions I don't even understand. They sound like a different language to me. So anyway, so
maybe I'll understand.
People are asking about oh my God, how does cloud mining Bitcoin works? How to calculate mining? How to all that? You know, we are talking about.
Yes, look, I understand.
Words are never in my mind could be ever connected with transaction and banking, like Ether and all this technology that is changing the finance, the face of finance. And
yes.
The one question that is coming more often actually is, don't jump into an answer straight away, just think about it. So one of the questions that is coming more often than others is Bitcoin legal? And then my personal question to you is, what are the chances that Bitcoin one day will become like any other bank now that everybody hates, because we know the banks are in bed with the governments, they do their own thing, nobody knows, they are using our money and they don't do the good. What are the chances for Bitcoin to follow the same entrapment?
Okay, well, there's 2 questions there. The first one is Bitcoin legal? Now, you know, even if you refer back to our own country, every single country can go and decide what they want to perceive Bitcoin as. So when they declare it as legal tender or illegal tender, it means they've done a declaration. And the declaration is it's either a currency and it must be managed as a currency like Japan has done, or it is an asset and it must be managed and controlled like an asset. So the governments will then tax as an asset. So is it legal? Most certainly. I mean, if it was illegal, it would have been banned long time ago and stopped. So countries have realized that they must adopt this technology because it is the future of money. So that's the one side of the question. What exactly was the second question?
Yes. What are the chances for Bitcoin, which now is such a new, exciting way of
Yes.
Making transactions and trading? And,
oh yes, or it
and it's for me,
by one individual.
For me, the only I have a very limited experience in banking. I only know that I would always pay for bricks and mortar. That's all I know. And
Okay.
so, but of course, you are here to prove me wrong, and you are here to show me another way and show our listeners that there is more to life than work. So I wonder, what do you think personally? Is Bitcoin going
well, let me answer
to become another bank like all these other banks that they let people down? They all they want is to make huge profits to the detriment of the people who put the money in originally.
Okay. So Marina, I think what's important to understand here is that why was Bitcoin invented? Bitcoin was invented because the monetary supply is controlled by banks and by governments. And therefore, everybody must conform and comply to the service fees, to the charges, and to the taxes. Some clever individuals went and made this technology where they said, let's give a gift to the world. A gift where you've got this value that can be sent from point A to point B, where there is no person, there is no government that controls it, there is no bank that controls it. So literally, with peer-to-peer transactions and open source code, everybody can be a part or partake in this technology. There isn't one individual that can go and say, hey, we're now going to print 20, by the way, there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. Imagine there was someone who could come along and say, no, we're going to make it 42 million. That would dilute the value of the Bitcoin. So in the code, when it was first written, there are very finite rules. No one can bend or change those rules. Now, there are people behind the scenes which are called, like you can say, blockchain.info. You can go and Google this. The CEO is Kerry. And literally, the job of the chain is that when you have got very big mining pools, you can get a voting right. And that voting right, I think it needs a unanimous of more than 75% if they were ever going to steer Bitcoin down a specific path. But you must remember, there's always going to be people that want to use Bitcoin for what it was originally intended. And there's always going to be people that are going to try and be power hungry and say, no, we want to control it. That is not what Bitcoin has been invented for or created for. So will it ever get to there? In my opinion, I don't think it will ever achieve there, because it's actually then undermines the reason why it was made, where average people can use it, and by using it, they strengthen the economy of Bitcoin, because you get more and more computers that can verify transactions. We are sitting with the talks of a hard fork and the talks of a soft fork, and is it going to happen, and how they're going to speed up the transactional times where transactions are happening, and are there more charges and fees that are going to be charged, and is there going to be a slowly an increase? These are talks that are happening behind the scenes, but exactly who's going to control that? It won't be one individual, and it won't just be one bank, and it won't just be one government.
Wow. So this digital gold, which unfortunately is loved by hackers, could be the answer to take off and for a change, see that life is not what other want you to have, but is what you could make, and have that courage and empower yourself with that belief that there are no limits. That's why perhaps you called your company Galaxy Lifestyle.
Yeah.
So tell us, what were the top free struggles you experienced since you last year when you start working with Bitcoin?
Look, I would say that the biggest struggle is when somebody gets given an opportunity. You can decide if you want to start doing the business side. And generally the struggles over there is people want to know, well, is it something that they can do? I mean, I'm doing it rather.
What are yours? No, Jaques, what are yours? Your own top free struggles.
Well, I haven't really had any struggles because it all works, and I don't need to be doing anything for the computers to be making me Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. So my struggle was actually a decision, and the decision was,
right decision.
Is it the right decision to drive this business and cryptocurrency? Is it the right decision to adopt disruptive technology? Now, there's two trends that we're sitting in front here. We're sitting in front of the future of the 21st century business. That is network marketing. Because my children are in varsity, busy studying at the moment. Work for them when they get out of varsity. And what they're busy studying, is there going to be work for that particular profession? Is more the question. I think the world is starting to realize that networking and using social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, people are connecting with people, more people than they've ever been able to connect with, and they're spreading information. And depending what information you're spreading and how that information can help others and help yourself is actually who's going to get the most traction. So networking is most certainly a trend that is starting to wake up. I mean, this is a $190 billion industry that's actually, I feel, a sleeping giant. Now, it's not me saying this. Go and look at the likes of like a Robert Kiyosaki, a Bill Gates, a Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, Eric Worre, Jim Rohn, all these people that are endorsing network marketing and saying, guys, the world needs to realize that this is the way forward. And you need to start building your network now already, because everyone is going to be doing this. The second trend is money as we know it losing its control? Now, right now, Bitcoin is only 46 billion cap. I mean, there are some hedge funds that run normal fiat currencies where they're doing like $8 trillion worth of transactions a day, as opposed to Bitcoin's 40 or 50 billion transactions. So it is still in its infant stage. It is still getting adopted, but more and more people are starting to realize the potential future. That's why certain governments have decided to adopt it as their currency. I mean, ask yourself the question, what do the average person out there think they know better than the Japanese government? Why would they go and invest so much time and effort and capital into cryptocurrencies, followed by the likes of Russia, that's most probably on the heels of Canada, Australia?
But okay. So if you think about Jaques, you know, the countries who legalize cannabis, for example, they have a better control of what's happening in the black market. There's no black market to start with. So I think the Japanese, you know, they identify the value of embracing the future, and perhaps they identify that at the right time, where other people are stuck in their old ways, and it's almost like they need time to catch up with the rest of the world, because progress is happening. Banks and authorities and government want it or not, and there is almost, you're mentioning networking, and networking is a way of life. It's not anymore just a word. It's not anymore about you know, giving out business cards. It's a lot more. It's at least at our end, from where we stand, we created the Stardust family, and this is an emotional intelligence evolution that's happening. So so it's not about what you go out and get from others. You go out and give. And
Correct.
this is very clear distinction between the old system, like the banking system, and that applies to everything. But let's say, because we are talking about printing money and financial freedom, so there is a big distinction between people who go out there and get, and people who go out there and give. And from what I stand, I never traded Bitcoin. I only buy properties. I don't know, but I know that when you become abundant yourself, when you realize how resourceful you are yourself, it is a question of when, not if, you start giving. So I understand that this whole movement is helping people to identify their own strength and empower them to look outside this little box that society wants you to be conditioned in, and realize that is limitless. And you yourself and your team, you created a platform which is called Galaxy. For God's sake, I love that. So Galaxy is actually, you are making a your mission statement is that each person is a star already. You don't need to become a star. You are born a star. You just need to share your stardust. You just need to realize that you are in a space, in a time when everything is possible. There are no limits unless you limit yourself. From both of us, until next time, and Jaques, must be a next time, because I have like almost 100 questions here. So so they keep coming, and I'm not even focusing on what you are saying because I'm reading the questions. So from both of us, until next time, share your stardust. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.